any holiday is you plan ahead. You don't have to make your fish stock the day of Passover. Make the fish stock. Yes. Make the fish stock a month ago, put it in the freezer, pull it a few days before. You don't have to think about that.
Like the one we got from Bob from 2 years ago.
Right. There you go. You know, cut the fish 2 days ahead before you have to grind it. You don't have to do everything last minute.
Right.
Cut your onions, saute them the next day.
I gotta go home.
You gotta go home and get ready. So the point is about any holiday and any get-together is careful planning ahead really makes the holiday less painful. And counting on friends to bring things. There you go. So we're going to have salmon, red snapper, matzah meal, eggs, a little bit of oil actually to saute our onions, water, sugar, pepper, salt, and carrots are going to cook with the fish. And these are already sauteed onions. So you want the onions? The onion fairy brings them. After the onion fairy has cut them, then she puts them in a pan and sautés them. So we're taking the skin off the salmon. And it doesn't really matter how good we do it because it's all going to be chopped up anyway. Waste not, want not, get everything you can. We're doing salmon and snapper gefilte fish today. You can use whatever fish is prevalent in your area, although traditionally whitefish and pike are the two common fish used to make gefilte fish. And really what gefilte fish is, it's a seafood quenelle. And it's actually a very fancy French dish. And so, I mean, you know, it's like it wasn't that the Eastern European Jews created it in a vacuum. They had other examples of this kind of dish to follow. In Russia, it's eaten, and in France. Grind it with the onions that I had already sauteed. So saute the onions, because some people don't saute their onions.
I can do that.
I let the onions cool a little bit. Why? Because you don't want to mix cold fish with hot onions. That would be gross. So does anybody want to come and help put this stuff together? There we go. I had the blade in on. All right, so here's our ground fish. And to this we're going to add eggs, matzah meal, and sugar. So who wants to add? You want to add? I know you do. Add six eggs to this, please.
Add 6 eggs to this.
6 eggs to this. You can just cut the
kosher way. No shells.
And then
here's compost right here.
And then we need, we're doing a 3-10 batch, so we need 1 cup of matzah meal.
How much is this? I'm going to take a picture of Rob.
Give me a little
I can't.
Now, of course, I don't know if you know this, but every scoop has a different ounce value. So this, and everyone has a number, and each number means it's a certain ounce size. I don't know what this one is, so I'm going to go ahead and, in my recipe, I say the ball should be 5 ounces. So let's see if I do a generous heaping scoop, and we want to 0 out the scale. So let's see what this is.
Oh, Lisa.
And that's okay. That's 5 ounces. Okay, so how big is that? And I'm going to show you. This is 5 ounces. Now, working with this or matzo balls, wet hands are important, or your stuff sticks to your hands. So my hands are wet. And then you shape it like a quenelle, an oval shaped. I mean, this isn't exactly a quenelle, but oval shaped like so. And then I'm going to put them in the water in an even layer, in this stock, I'm sorry, in an even layer. And then we're going to cook them on the stove.
So Lisa, what's the difference between this and a fish cake other than it's leavened, you know, it's unleavened bread, it's matzah meal as opposed to real bread?
Well, a fish cake wouldn't be poached. More often than not, I think you would pan fry a fish cake and bread it, whereas this is the pureed fish that's poached.
Okay.
In fish stock.
And in France, they would call that a quenelle?
Well, a seafood quenelle.
Seafood quenelle.
Quenelle is a shape.
Oh, right.
So it's an oval shape.
You make it with a spoon? typically, no?
Typically, yes, but they would be larger if you were going to eat them for an appetizer, for example.
Right.
But it's really that oval shape that's common. All right, water. Okay, and then, and you'll notice actually that there is a measurement for salt and pepper. In my cookbook, Mother's Best, I actually give salt and pepper measurements because so many cookbooks today say salt and pepper to taste. And I think that's really terrible when you have somebody that doesn't know how to cook. How much salt and pepper do you use?
Especially you're not going to taste it.
Exactly.
I don't think that.
But a trick, you're actually saying something really important, speaking about raw fish, and that is that whenever you make a lot of something, you need to test it out. So before I would go ahead and cook all 36 of these, I'll probably cook one and make sure it's okay. Same thing like when you make a big batch of meatballs, fry up one meatball and test it before you commit to a whole big batch.
And then what about salting before versus salting after?
Salting this?
Anything.
I am a firm believer, straight piece of fish. Actually, I'm a firm believer in seasoning every aspect of what I'm making every step of the way. So, for example, if I'm sauteing mushrooms that are going in a dish that requires mushrooms, I'll season the mushrooms. If I'm...
and then season them again when they're done?
And then I season the whole dish at the end. So, I like to season things as I cook. Right?
You're using the same herbs?
Well, I'm talking salt and pepper.
Oh, just salt.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you have to watch how much, the quantity of whatever herbs you're adding, but if I'm referring specifically to salt and pepper. So I haven't, speaking of salt and pepper, I haven't added it yet, so we're doing 1, 2, 3, 1,
See, another interesting technique you use.
3, 1, 2, 3, half. Yes.
You keep one hand dry and one hand wet.
Yeah, you try to do that when you're breading. You always try to do the breading. I always miss it midway, but yeah.
This is where you got to start.
And then 1, 2, 3, half. Okay, and then the sugar, just a little bit. I don't know why my mother added sugar, but 1, 2, 3. All right, a little bit for good luck. Okay.
Is your mother's recipe?
Yes.
This is?
It is.
Aww.
She didn't use salmon. She used whitefish and pike, but carrots right there, which I'll cook with the gefilte fish.
So we'll have that.
We
And
have
then do I
carrots.
want to put some dill? I was going to make...
I don't usually use dill, but
maybe that's for...
you want to use a fish that doesn't have a very strong flavor because then it overpowers everything. So something like halibut is ideal for fish stock. You can buy halibut bones from seafood suppliers, chop them up, and then sweat the bones with mirepoix, onion, carrot, celery, a little white wine, and you put a lid on it, you let it sweat for about 10 minutes. Then you just cover with...
boil it and then stir it, or no?
First you sweat it. First you sweat it with bones and vegetables and wine, lid, just a little bit, nothing else. Just let it kind of concentrate the flavors.
What's what?
Oh, and heat.
Okay.
No.
Sorry, and heat.
Okay.
But no oil.
No oil. You let that sweat. You let it kind of just a little bit of liquid with all that lid. Let the flavors kind of develop and then cover it with water and let it cook for about 20 minutes.
Is the recipe
Well, actually,
in Mother's
40 minutes.
Best?
Yes. So we have our gefilte fish now poaching in a hotel pan with a perforated hotel pan inside. And that's going to make it easy to lift out. But look at that, huh? Doesn't that look yummy?
And how long do you poach these
We're
fish?
going to, well, until it registers 140 degrees internal temperature. That's when you know the fish is now on the stove. When it comes to a boil, we're going to lower the temperature so it simmers. We don't want it to be a full rolling boil, or that's where you get those white things coming up to the top, and it's not good. You want it to simmer. And we're going to cook it until an instant read thermometer registers 140 degrees. That's done for fish. And that's a really good way. It's just something to keep in mind. And 140? 140. And usually you can buy these thermometers and they have those temperatures written on there, so you don't have to guess, oh, medium rare is this, well done is that. They usually have it listed. I'll take those out and put them on a sheet pan to cool, so they cool fast. And then we'll serve it at cold at Passover Seder. Yay! So there you go.
Thank you, Lisa.